Hello, it's about 9:30 in the morning on Monday, April 6th, 2020. I'm Ben Ferguson, and this is my welding table. And today I am making a bottle tree, much like that one, for Erica Lindsey in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Now I'm in Mesa, Arizona, so this is my first out-of-state commission, but if anyone else is interested, they can leave a message below or whatever and let me know. So what's involved in making your own bottle tree if you want to do it yourself? Now this style is, I call the Ocotillo style, which is patterned after the Ocotillo cactus in Arizona. I thought it lent itself really well to holding bottles. That's a 16 bottle tree. It has 1 foot lengths, 2 foot lengths, 3 foot lengths, 4 foot lengths, 5 foot lengths, and a 6 foot length at the top. And it all sits on a brake rotor. This is just an old brake rotor from a Chevy truck. Weighs 18 and a half pounds. I wanted something heavy at the base to support it. What we have is rebar. That's going to be the arms of this, and a piece of 1/8 plate, which I'll be welding into the middle of this. I have a plasma cutter, an angle grinder, and a MIG welder. The plasma cutter will be used to cut out the circle in the 1/8 plate. I'll also use it to cut the rebar. I need to say, if you don't have a plasma cutter, you can try a hole saw or kind of cut out with a cutting wheel and your angle grinder. These do really well on rebar, but because I have the plasma cutter already hooked up, I'm going to use the plasma cutter to cut the rebar as well. I have these in triplicate, so I measure 1 and cut all the way across to get 3 of each length, and I'll go all the way down. I'll have some waste left over I'll use for other projects. What I'll do first is get my cuts done, and that will allow me to be ready, would not have to cut later. So first thing we do to get a Sharpie and line up the brake disc on your plate of steel and draw a circle on the inside diameter or circumference of that inner brake wheel. We set this aside. This gets welded to last. And what we begin now with is we're going to use a plasma cutter and cut that circle out. And it doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be approximate, but it's got to fit that. So I'm going to wear sunglasses for plasma cutting because it's easier to see. Let's try taking off my real glasses first. And let's do this. I have a Thermal Dynamics Cutmaster 60i plasma cutter. I'm running about 90 psi and 40 amps, so hopefully I won't blow a circuit, although I've done that before. I don't have proper electrical run dedicated for welding and fabricating. I'm using house current and some modifications, so it is highly likely that I'm going to throw a switch or throw a breaker while doing this project. I did last bottle tree, and I expect to do it this one too. We'll see if this happens. Circle Now what I'll do is start cutting the rebar at the lengths I need. Now that circle may need additional refinement, but I'll know that when I get to start fitting it into the wheel hub or the brake disc. Use a rubber mallet to knock everything at the end to be the same length, so that when I make my cut across, these are all going to be the same length. Those are 2-foot lengths. I've pre-measured some of these lengths already. I'll be measuring some on the fly here as we go. I'm using just a simple clamp to run the rebar through so it doesn't spring up, because I'm using 20-foot lengths. So I'm using just as a means to hold it down. My air compressor is not huge, so I do have to wait for the pressure to build up. These are the 3-foot lengths. As I said before, my plasma cutter is fine, but my air compressor is a little low volume for this. So I'm going to make sure these are the 5-foot lengths. When I'm cutting in 10-foot segments, I usually do 2, 3s, and 5s together, and that makes it a little bit easier to spare material, because this is 51 feet of rebar. Some metal supply shops charge about $20 for a 20-foot length, so that's $1 a foot. So what I have here are 10-foot segments. Now I know I need a 6-foot, a 4-foot, 3 4-foots, a 6-foot, and 3 1-foot lengths. So what I'm going to do is on one of these 3, I'm gonna spare for the 6-foot, because that's what will be remaining, and then the others I'll cut 1-foot segments out of. So that's what I'll do here. On this we're doing 4-foot right now, so I need a free hand and my Sharpie. And you only need to mark one of these and just cut all the way across. And since we're using 20-foot lengths, I've already cut a 2, 5, a 3, I'll be cutting a 4, and that means there's 6 left over because all of that together is equal to 20. So whatever I cut here on the 4th, the remaining tallest one I'll use as the fire. So, I'm going to cut these one at a time. Let my air compressor catch up. I have another air compressor in mind that I'll be getting soon. These are the 4-foot lengths. One of these I'm reserving as the centerpiece, center point. They're all about the same length. I'll hold this one aside for the 6-foot. And I'll cut the 1-foot lengths from this one. Use that for another project. So here, again, tape measure and Sharpie. I'm going to leave my glove on for this side because it'll be hot. On these 1-foot segments, I move up about 1/8 of an inch at each inch increment to allow for cut thickness. Use this for another project. And I have all my cut pieces. 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s in triplicate. And then a 6-footer as the centerpiece. And then the brake disc. So move the rebar to the side. Let's just get the center of this welded. Right now, just going to get a little bit of the rust off. It doesn't really matter. This is supposed to rust outside anyway. So we'll the reason for removing at least some rust is to improve some of the adhesion on the weld itself. Okay, that fits pretty good. So I'm going to begin the process. I'm going to turn off my plasma cutter. Since I'm done plasma cutting, I can stop that noise. What we're going to do here is just weld this plate in to fill in the circle of the brake disc. So I'll get my welding helmet on. Make sure we're on here. Before I go any further, I'm going to turn off my air compressor because I know it's on the same circuit as this welder, and that's what's going to throw the switch. I'll be back. There is also a high likelihood that someone may run an appliance in the house or something that will require me to reset this breaker on the side of the house. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to adjust the settings on my welder. Change it to 1/8 inch instead of 3/16. I think my ground is causing too much current draw, and it's not giving me a good connection. That's why it's not holding an arc. I'm using a flux core wire, which I typically use outside for windy conditions, but I don't have any gas right now, so I'm using it for everything right now. But that's good enough for this type of stuff. Now, again, I don't know exactly why this is not holding an arc, but I got to deal with what I got. So. And I threw the breaker. Knew it would happen. It's just a matter of time. I'll be right back. I'm going to conduct an experiment and see if the welder will work on the adapter that I have. And it very well may. Okay, my welder has an adapter for a higher voltage, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that in, see if that will solve the problem. Okay, it should auto switch to the correct voltage, and seems to be working right now. Let me change the thickness back. Well, maybe not. I'll keep it on 3/16 and see how that goes with the 230 amp circuit. Well, that was day and night difference. Huge difference. Okay, this should go a lot easier on the rebar without throwing circuits. That'd be nice. So there it is. We learned something. If you can do 230, then do 230. Now what we're going to do is begin the process of connecting the various links to the central spine. We start with the 6-foot link, then we add a 4 and a 5 either side of it, since they're going to be 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, and that's going to be around. And then the next layer is going to be 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, and then around that is going to be the 1-foots, and that's how we're going to do it. On the ends that are going to be in the air, I'm going to grind those ends so they are nice to put bottles on. So I'm just going to grab a set of these and use the angle grinder to clean up the ends on these. One thing I also need to do, I do need to deburr the bottoms of these because they do need to fit closely together around the base of the trunk. So I'll do that too. I'll go ahead and do the shorter ones as well. took my glove off at the end there because I've got arthritis in my hands, and these gloves are they were not feeling right and they were hurting my hands. So there it is. Now we begin by taking in any of the 5 and any of the 4s and putting them side by side so that they're 180 degrees away from each other. And what I do is, this is pretty much one of the last times, or maybe the last time I used the Sharpie on this, is that from the bottom we're going to go, we're going to weld up to 2 inches, and then from the 1 foot mark down, 1 foot mark down 2 inches to 10 inches. So these all these pieces, except for the 1 footers, are going to be connected for 2 inches here and 2 inches there. The 1 foot units are only going to be connected down at the base, just like that one is, because at the 1 foot mark, the second tallest ones are at their midpoint, and they flex out, and everything flexes out from there. So that's all that happens as far as 2 inches here either side, top and bottom, and then I start adding the ones, or the 5s and 4s alternately around this to make a hexagon with around a central core of a 6 foot. Don't forget to hydrate. Using the brush to get off flux in the flux core, for those of you new to welding, it's not the cleanest weld, but sometimes it's a little breezy, and that's what I have in the machine. So I don't really like. Now, because we have a 4 and a 5 on this time, well, on this side we'll take a 5 and put it onto the 4. And because I can see the weld on the adjacent to it, I can clamp thusly. some point I will put on a magnetic ground. I think that might work to my advantage when I have such an awkward shape to weld. Okay, so I have 5 of these together now. We have a 5 on this side and a 4 on this side. So I'll put a 4 on this side and a 5 on that side. Now the entire work is getting hot because none of it is getting a chance to cool off, really. So you have to be very careful if you're doing this. This will go through your glove at this point. I'm going to see if I can weld from the table onto it. And I can. Touch up a couple things here as I go. Okay, now overall it's getting significantly heavier, but it's taking shape, and that's what we want it to do. So what we're going to be doing now is putting the 2s and 3s around here. So there'll be like a 2, 3, 2, a 3, a 2, a 3, and that will. The hardest part after that is basically installing the 1-footers, because they have to be spaced about 180 degrees from each other, and kind of 120 degrees from each other. So those are a little bit more challenging. Not bad though. There you go. I'm going to tack these until I know they're spaced properly. In fact, I'm going to do all the 3s first, so I know that I'm not missing on some. Okay, I've got the threes tacked. I'm going to go ahead and weld the threes, and it'll look kind of like a triangle. Let me hold this up to the camera. It looks kind of like a triangle now because it's around a central hexagon, and then you got the triangle around. Erica, as when you receive this, it will be all in a long piece. I'm not going to splay it out. Hard to ship something that way. You'll have to spread these out, but on the bottom ones, because they're hard to get started, I'll get those started. Just deflect them a little bit away so you can get your hand in there and pull them down. You can also use a hammer or a crowbar or something like that. They're very easy to bend once you have the first one's done. So just shape it how you want it, and it'll look the way you want it to look. So here we go. The glove is getting hot. The glove's getting really hot. Now, the last 2-footer, and then I'll space the 1-footers around. Erica, your bottle tree is close to being done. I'll stake it in the middle here and write something around the perimeter, and then I'll ship it to you. I see a weld that I missed. There we go. The 1 foot segments I'm going to space 120 degrees apart from each other, so at least it'll look nice and somewhat symmetrical. So there we go, we're almost done with this part of it. Bring this over. This is what it looks like. Kind of a hexagon and a triangle at the same time. And this is 51 feet of 3/8 inch rebar. About $1 a foot. And now what I'm going to do is use the angle grinder to mostly flatten the surface before I attach it to the brake disc. So here we go. For this, I'm going to change the disc media here. Try to make this happen the right way. This is a what is this? A 40 grit sanding flap disc. Something was in the threads. That is very hot, by the way. Erica. I don't know what happened. My camera stopped recording at the last bit where I attached the bottle tree to the base, and just wrote a little thing to you from me and the date on the base. I went ahead and bent these out just a little bit so you can get your hands in here to pull them down to adjust them. The rest are easier to get into to pull. Just these two layers, the 1-footers and the 2-footers, are the hardest ones to adjust. So I went ahead and made space for that. I'll get this in the mail to you. This is 51 feet of rebar and an 18.5-pound plate plus the welding wire. So I don't know exactly how much this weighs, but it's not light. I'm going to try to find the most affordable way to get this to you. And this goes outside. It's going to rust in about 2 seasons. It's going to be as rusted as that is there, and it'll look good. You can put lights on it if you want in the seasons, whatever colored bottles you'll need. You will need to get 16 bottles, and I hope you like it. Hope you enjoy it. Be careful when you are setting up before you put the bottles on it, because when you have these sticking out, they're sticking out. You can run into them while you're putting bottles on. So just be careful, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'll be in touch with you later today to about the shipping and everything. And to anyone else who's watching this video, if you want to make a bottle tree, you can follow along with what the video is showing you, and you can make an Ocotillo Style Bottle Tree like this. Or I suppose you can contact me and I can make one for you. And it's generally material cost plus time and shipping. And you provide your own bottles. So anyway, this is me at my welding table, and this is the bottle tree for Erica Lindsey in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Oh, and just to let you know how tall this is, so I'm 5'11", so not incredibly tall or anything. So this is a 6-foot point, but it's on the wheel hub, or the wheel brake, disc brake thing, and so it's that tall. So if you're a short person, you'll be able to reach up and get the bottles on. If you're a tall person, you'll easily get the bottles on. And so there it is. It's not light, so lift with your legs and not your back. So anyway, I hope you enjoy your bottle tree, Erica. And it was fun making it. It takes about 2 hours to fabricate, not including all the setup time and everything, and going to get the materials. Just 2 hours of cutting and welding, and that's it. So you take care. Thank you.